so we're not doing 628? Okay. I thought we were doing 628.
Yeah, we were. And come back to that one. All right, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start with House Bill 1296, the Historic Property Income Tax Credit revised certain provisions regarding. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is a little bit different than the one we took up on the Senate side. It sets up similar parameters that the other one did as far as being able to sell the tax credits on the market, in addition to trading them into the state for 75% of the face value. This bill also provides for, the cap is $12 million, but on projects of less than $3 million, they would not go against the cap. I know that we had an amendment and some questions about how to manage the cap for smaller deals so that one project does not take the full credit each year. And so I think this solves most of that issue. In the last 4 years, there's only been 2 projects that are over $3 million that have applied and for the tax credit. And so with the language in this, it should cover just about any project in a calendar year. And that's another change. It goes from a fiscal year. This is the only tax credit that goes by the state fiscal year, and it changes it to a calendar year. And so those are the changes that this bill makes. Are there any questions?
Senator Bryan, you're recognized for a question.
When I first saw this bill back in January, it looked to me an odd thing because the existing credits have all been asked for and used, and my understanding is there's a huge waiting list of people who want those existing credits. And it appears to me that what we're doing is taking existing credits, which have already been earned for projects that have already been allocated or whatever, and we're making changes to make those credits more valuable. And I want to know why we're doing that, and I want to know who, where it is that this benefit is flowing. And I've been asking questions publicly, privately, calmly, frantically, and I simply can't get anybody anywhere to come tell me what's really up. The explanations are always about this technical language, but there's something happening. So I'm still just trying to find out who is the beneficiary of this. Secondly, whatever we've done up until this point, I would just stop right there. And I would create a new similar program, or however you want to do it, with another class of credits. Because with these credits and every other credit, you are costing the state of Mississippi $1 per dollar for the credits. We're trying to help somebody somewhere. They're not getting the dollar. They're getting part of the dollar. And the difference between what the project that we're trying to help actually gets and what the taxpayers are paying for is being used up by this group of people who buy and sell tax credits and line up people who actually owe the state some taxes, because our income tax is so low, it's very hard to find anybody with enough liability to use up the credits, because you know our state income tax is so low. That's why they have to hunt around to find somebody with the credits. But that doesn't provide any economic benefit. So what I would suggest with these tax credits and all of them Mr. Chairman, if the tax credits are actually going to be used and work their way back to the Treasury, that we just cut out the middleman and make them all 100% refundable in the first place. And it would cost the taxpayers the same amount of money, but the money would go to the project and not to the paper shufflers. They'd save a lot of paperwork over at the tax commission. But I can't find anybody to tell me what we're really doing and what the problem is that we're trying to fix. And B, I don't understand why we wouldn't have a more forthright program.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add an amendment to this to put in reverse repealers so that we can work on those things.
Okay. All right.
So my motion would be to add a reverse repealer.
You've heard an explanation of the amendment. Are there any questions? Seeing none, move adoption of the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Are there any other questions of the committee? Senator?
I have
McMahon?
I have a question. I know Senator Johnson, we worked on this on the original bill out of the Senate, and there was some concerns about one project had consumed all the tax credits available for 1 year. And we had discussed about limiting those tax credits, but I don't see that unless you could help.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. I know we'd worked on that. I think, so this came from the House.
Sir.
Our language stayed with the cap, but maximized, but capped any one project by 25%. That was the amended language we did. In this, there's a $12 million cap. However, projects less than $3 million don't apply towards that cap. So a big project that would be over $3 million would apply towards a $12 million cap. But as many projects that were 1 or 2 or under $3 million would qualify in a single calendar year. And that's what I was saying about in the past 4 years, there's only been 2 projects in the state that have exceeded $3 million. One of those was just over $3 million. The other one was one that we had referenced on the coast. And so, so this would be an even better option for almost every project that goes on in the state.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Bryan, another question.
Again, I do understand that unlimited credits will be available for projects of $3 million or less.
That is the way it's written, yes, sir.
So if, there are 50 projects of $2 million each, that's $100 million out of the Treasury.
It is. Now, that has not been what the trend has been. And I have a list for, I believe, since 2017. I'll get that for you if you would like it, and what effect it would have under this legislation.
I think that's another.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that we're essentially, as it were, appropriating unlimited amounts of funds out of the Treasury.
And yes, sir. With the reverse repealer in, we'll continue to work through that. That way we won't be rushed to do that today.
All right. Senator Boyd, question?
Do we have the total number of dollars that we've done in these projects, like over the last year?
I can get that for you. I have it. I just don't have it printed right this moment. But I will give that to you.
Any other questions on the bill as amended? All right. Motion is title sufficient to pass as amended.
Strike all.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The next bill we will go to is House Bill 1297. This is a House bond bill that we're going to insert a reverse repealer in to have a vehicle alive. I believe they're taking up our bond bills as well, but want to make sure we have a vehicle alive to continue to work on. And that's just an explanation. This one is just for one. I think this is in the Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and it was, that's the code section that's brought up in this bill, but obviously we'll take this to conference and we have other options. Just make sure we have a vehicle available for the final bond bill. Are there any questions? If not, I'm going to make the motion for the amendment for a reverse repealer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Any further questions? Seeing none, is there a motion? Motion is title sufficient do pass as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next is House Bill 1420. This bill brought from the House has the look and feel of a local and private piece of legislation, but the Constitution requires all tax exemptions of even local taxes be put through the revenue bill process instead of local and private. This specific bill references the Briarwood Pool in Northeast Jackson, and it is it was owned by the Jackson YMCA. The YMCA filed for bankruptcy, and the community formed a 501c3, Friends of Briarwood Pool, which purchased the property out of bankruptcy as not to have a dilapidated and dangerous property in the community. The 501c3 now owns and operates the pool for families at a very low summer-only membership cost for families who do not otherwise have access to swimming activities for their family. It also gives access to the pool at no charge to the Boy Scouts for their swimming and lifeguarding merit badge activity, as well to the Jackson Public Schools for any swim team type activities, and for public schools who do not otherwise have access to a pool. They have applied for ad valorem tax exemption with Hinds County as a 501c3, and the tax collector ruled that the Mississippi Code didn't allow for them to do that without legislative relief, and that's what this bill intends to do. It is the Hinds County Board of Supervisors has provided a unanimous resolution in support of the tax relief legislation, and that's why they are here. So that is the explanation of the bill. Are there any questions? Senator Bryan. Let the record reflect he is doing the YMCA. Are there any other questions on the bill? Seeing none, is there a motion? Motion is title sufficient do pass. All those in favor, as amended, all those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill is House Bill 628, and I believe it's being passed around right now. And I'm going to recognize this is the highway privilege tax, a gross vehicle weight category for carriers of property with additional tax. I'm going to recognize Senator Branning to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill was requested by the Loggers Association, and the intent of the bill is just to give them the option to purchase a tag that displays the fact that they have a harvest permit under state law. You'll see the changes that are pertinent in lines 52 through 56. And this is optional. They certainly don't have to buy this tag, but my understanding is those people that haul into Louisiana and Alabama under the reciprocity agreements in place, it denotes the fact that there has to be a tag in place before those agreements will be honored. So all we're trying to do is give our loggers the ability to haul the legal weight in Mississippi over into those other states, and having this tag will give them that ability. That's the explanation of the bill. I'm happy to yield for questions.
Are there any questions from the committee? Seeing none, for a motion. Motion is title sufficient do pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. And our final bill, it's passing out, okay, it's House Bill 1446. Okay. You have it in front of you. It was the second bill in that packet you just received. This is the income tax allowed deductions for back to business Mississippi grant program and eligible expenses. There is some concern over whether or not the feds have allowed for the expenses paid for by the Paycheck Protection Act that are allowed expenses, and we are looking at the possibility of doing that on the state level for the back to business grant program we enacted last year. So what this bill will do is to allow those expenses to be itemized, expensed on the taxes. So that's an explanation of the bill, and we are getting some more information from the Department of Revenue on this that I'll have before we take it up on the floor. Are there any questions on the bill? Seeing none, for a motion. Motion is title sufficient do pass. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. That bill will be reported out. For motion to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.